You are listening to the Centropic Oracle, an audiobook podcast of science fiction and fantasy short stories that make you think and feel. Print Me a Creature for the Night. Hybrids Allowed by Russell Hemmell. Caitlin MacDonald, Moon Village, Unit 3C, Far Side, Moon. Multiple log entries, 2047. When the corporation asked me to cook up a creature, those were the exact words Carl used, I thought I was still asleep and dreaming. Morning hours were, for me, the worst possible for anything, let alone working. But no, it turned out it was for real. They wanted me, Caitlin MacDonald, to use my knowledge in the rather exotic discipline of exobiology to simulate the primordial soup with 100% lunar-sourced elements to see if I could come up with a live specimen. And there, my problems started. Anything was going to meet the target, theoretically speaking, but my brother was an optimist by design. How else could he run Exobionic SAHQ office in Nearside otherwise? And so he assigned me a target more complex than a parvovirus. Shoot for something bigger than 90 nanometers, Caitlin. Like what? I snickered. I'd almost forgotten what living things look like since I'd been locked up in this place. I prepared a shopping list of components, musing. It'd be nice to have some company. Something I could touch and smell. Something alive and not invisible bacteria was a welcome novelty. I was more an expert in RNA-based compounds than a specialist of complex organisms, but sure I could manufacture something using the ingredients I had on hand there, right? The following days saw the habitually dead-quiet Moon Village on the far side buzzing with activity, with all my electronic units gleaming at full steam. Carbon-based life is made by precious few essential components, which, in the case of creatures, translates in lipids, DNA, soluble proteins, sugars, collagen, structural proteins, and an extracellular matrix that holds every single organ together. How to get a hold of them? For DNA, I'd modify the ones I'd already sequenced and had in storage, like the set of synthetic proteins of the month before. I also needed a sterile environment, check, a petri dish where the compounds could happily mushroom, check, a sheltered scaffold to allow the cells to set themselves up in 3 dimensions, missing. I ordered biomaterials straight from the Moon Village's bioprocessing unit, which ran both the creation end, like greenhouse and underground farms, and the disposal stuff. That was the closest thing to a graveyard I knew, except for the lack of bodies. Nothing can be wasted in space. I 3D printed the scaffold in the lab. The only thing I had still to do was choose the creature. I decided to go for something simpler to manufacture than a hamster, albeit not that cute, a fruit fly. I'd give her an enhanced DNA, drone structure, and superimposed exoskeleton, longer than the usual 1/8 of an inch, with eyes blue instead of red, courtesy of the radioreceptor I'd add to the package. A full-face transparent visor on my face and gloved hands, I started. Day 7. All compounds assembled and ready. DNA transfer completed. Larva creation initiated. Day 10. There's no egg for my larva to hatch from, but only a polymeric case on the petri dish, where she'll pupate in her own time. Day 13. 72 hours have passed, and she's no longer in the larval state. Probably the DNA enhancement has sped up the process. The pupa is translucent, like a lacquered Chinese artifact, and on the left side I see a red spot blinking, like a tiny heart pulsing out of a shell. Day 20. After a pupal phase rather uneventful, she comes out, fluttering her milky, blue-spotted wings and an elongated abdomen that keeps bumping on her wiry legs. She looks around, puzzled, making friends with her new home. And when she turns her strange eyes on me for the first time, I couldn't help wondering if any of the DNA upgrades have actually worked. Day 27. Everything comes to those who learn the waiting game. Now, I'm no longer alone in the station. There's somebody else for me to care about and take care of. First thing I do when I wake up is to go and check on my baby. Strange how I've become anxious about her well-being. I've given her a name, too, like a pet, so the experiment has become Cherry Ying. Carl said we're going to win prizes for it. Not that I care. Ego is an unnecessary luxury as a moonwalker. Cherry Ying is a little more than a baby botfly, but a fully functional one. She flaps her wings and lands on my shoulder, delicate and respectful. Day 50. Cherry Ying completed her first cycle. She's an adult, buzzing around the station, searching for fruits to colonize and pluck seeds from. Carl is busy making applications for the Nobel Prize and preparing his statements. He's sure we're going to score, and he's ready to bask in the well-deserved glory and collect the money. Me, I don't pay attention. Cherry Ying uses up all my time, and not just when I test her. I have the weird but persistent impression she's trying to interact with me in a meaningful way. She also keeps resting on my shoulder while I go around, watching. Like tonight. We look outside our oval titanium-paneled window, my creature and I, admiring the stars and the nebulas looming far away in the black space in front of us. There's no atmosphere or artificial lights here, and we can sit staring at those pale blue shimmering clouds for hours. I can almost hear the sound of celestial spheres in my plasma radio tuned on the solar system's space objects, and I bet she can too. Day 115. I found Cherry Ying's seed storage just nearby my computing station, colored tiny granules stashed under a black wire. I tread carefully around the heap to avoid upsetting her. Is she trying to build a safe environment for her eggs? She should have already reproduced a few times and been gone by now. Neither happened, as a matter of fact. I made her unable to breed out of safety. Even Carl agreed on that. But I've also done something else. I've altered her duration. She won't grow old, not in this existence of mine, or in a few others after that. Maybe, just maybe, an extended lifetime will allow her to develop some sort of instrumental intelligence, or even awareness, enough to wonder about a maker instead of a making, and curse that entity for all the things she won't have. It doesn't matter. If that's the case, she will have the dark void of space to glimpse from her graphene kingdom's vantage point, already knowing this universe is neither dark nor void, but full of eerie mystery and perfect in beauty. We hope you enjoyed Print Me a Creature for the Night, Hybrids Aloud, by Russell Hemmell, read by Larissa Thompson. If you'd like to learn more about the author and narrator of this story or make a donation to them, follow the story page link in the description. Pledge your support to us on Patreon for cool rewards and to help us bring you more stories. If you would like to submit a story for consideration or apply to be a narrator, a link to our submission guidelines is in the description.